We work best when we're collaborating with our commissioners. So we've grown this project, and in turn that project we hope will be the greenest residential set of apartments in Singapore. The geometry of a living space inspires how people come together. So this design that was developed, that we have a section of the model of, which was just based on making a series of these blades that are planted in the garden on our site. And in between is sort of stitched together these planters. That's all you see. And then the glass is all set back. So the actual mass is hidden within a truly three-dimensional facade.
Part of the typical residential apartment is the balconies, which are kind of plugged on the outside. So the building is planned out, and then balconies are kind of stuck on the outside of that. They're not really used. People don't go out there. They don't go out there because there isn't anything out there, but also they don't go out there because everyone looks at you and you're exposed. You'll notice our balconies are protected by the building itself. So when you're out there, you don't feel like you're exposed on all sides. You are protected in some way.
There's also a real intent to create pockets of intimacy. We could have designed one big balcony, but we've intentionally scaled them down, so there's actually three. And we think with the way that's orchestrated, with how the planting is distributed, it creates these moments of real intimacy where you're surrounded by nature.
Biophilia. I remember when I first heard that word, I thought, was this just a pretentious word for some plants? But biophilia means sound, smells and movement, and the necessity to make places have a nature including humans within that.
There's a very specific climate in Singapore which is very tropical, and oftentimes the default position is to just kind of close it off, air condition the space, and the problem is that creates a real segregation between the outside and the inside, which is in a way a hugely missed opportunity.
And so the big step within this project became this dimension of cross-ventilation. Rather than having just two aspects with the ability to open, our project has three. You suddenly got movement because there's breezes working through the building itself. There's an indoor and outdoor living potential. More than ever, we understand that the true integration of nature into your life is key to our mental health.
It's interesting what Thomas is saying about biophilia. It started out, which we thought was quite a narrow piece of terminology, so you need to be near green, but actually it's quite a broad subject which encompasses natural materials as well as just nature in and of itself. There's something in your soul that gets activated when you're surrounded by natural materials. That gave a kind of variety, a tactility to the material palette, which we really enjoyed. You'll notice that we've used a lot of natural stones, a lot of timbers, and where we've used any other materials, we've explored texture and depth. Our concrete on this project actually has a form liner that brings a texture to it. And that texture is a kind of relief map of Singapore. And that tactility of surface, even though it's concrete, was really important. One of the biggest compliments anybody can give a building is actually wanting to go and touch the building.
This is a sample of the front door of the house. Using the same kind of relief map as we have on the facade, slightly tweaked to the kind of correct scale and the grain of the wood. And what it does is it gives this extremely interesting, really tactile surface because it's both very beautiful but very enticing. The fact that this is a solid piece of walnut allows you to really appreciate the beauty of the material, which is there. We don't need to do much more to it.
Our relationship with Swire goes back almost 20